Here's something for you. Remember Johnny Depp? He was accused of beating his wife up, and everybody thought it was nasty and horrible and stuff like that. It went on for years, right? And he just silently get on with it. And then one day, right, she pressed him too far, and he just produced evidence to show he was the victim. Now his wife looks evil, and Johnny Depp's reputation is vastly bigger than it used to be because he played the gentleman game and stayed silent and just tried to be nice about it all when he was in fact the person who was being abused. If you look at me, when I was modding for Oblivion, when I made my third mod, I suddenly came to the attention of people that wanted to run the community. They saw me as a threat. They produced one tool or a mod I considered to be, standard newbie material, and they think that entitled them to lord it over everybody. So when I made 3 large quest mods on my own, I was a threat. And as a consequence, they put pressure on me, sent trolls after me, started slagging off everything I did. And I even got death threats because of them, right? Yeah, death threats on Bethesda's forums. They never did anything about it. In fact, I got moderated for mentioning it. So you see, people can target you for what you do, but they can't take away who you are, right? And I might have reacted badly at first to that because I wasn't expecting it. I really didn't expect to see that. I mean, I was releasing mods for free. Why the hell would anybody attack someone for making mods for free? But in that community, they bloody well do. So anyway, at first I reacted badly, and I earned a reputation for reacting badly. But eventually, I left the site, retired to my own site and carried on modding there. That caused loads of trouble amongst the people in the community because they felt they were entitled to the mods they'd driven away. They literally drove me out of the community and then felt they were still entitled to the mods I was making, which isn't how it works. But I made mod in peace, and these trolls that they sent to me just hit my site wave after wave after wave, and I made a lot of hoops for them to jump through to slow them down. So when they eventually got to my site, the only damage they'd caused would be at the point when they downloaded the mods and they put that "aha, we've got your mods, Giscard" post on the forums. And then they'd fire the mods, try them, realise they were quite good, come back and apologise because they like the mods and they have nothing like what they were told. It's a Johnny Depp moment. They realised they'd been used by somebody else. Somebody else had put them up to something, they'd stupidly reacted to it, and then they'd attacked a person that was perfectly innocent, a hard-working modder that had done it, bent over backwards, put more work into his mods than the people who put them up put into their work in the first place. So you earn a reputation that way. I converted millions of trolls into fans that way by simply not reacting to it in the end, just staying on my own site and leaving them to it. Right? They gobbed off at me, my own reputation shone through on my own website with me making mods. Yes, it was a strain, yes, it caused a massive amount of anxiety and stress, but I got through it with more fans than I started with. Fans that helped me, donated to projects I was doing, and are still with me today in many cases. So you see, you don't really, if there's a lesson here, you don't really need to defend yourself. You just need to know people need to know what you like. You should be yourself. Run around helping people, help the disabled, help the old. People get to know you as that helpful type of person. When somebody points a finger and accuses you of something, they know that person can't possibly be true because they know you. You don't need to lift the finger. The person who points the finger is the one that shoots himself in the foot because people don't understand that person pointing the finger there because they don't know the person pointing the finger from Adam half the time. They just know you. So they know they're wrong about you, so they must be bad. That's the reputation they pick up in the eyes of others. And you didn't need to point the finger at them to do it. They did it themselves. They did it to themselves. Now, in some cases that you've got mental illness, right, that's always with you. You can't turn it off. You can't just make it go away. You can't get over it. There's no sweeping it to one side for 1 second to be reasonable. It's there all the time. It colours your judgment. Even when you think you're being normal, it colours your judgment. You've got to understand that about yourself if you're suffering from mental illness. Everything you do or see or thing is seen through the prism of a mental illness. And when you try to explain it to other people, if them other people know you, they'll know it's seen through the prism of a mental illness. The question then becomes, can they talk to you about it? If they can't talk to you about it, they'll just nod and say yes. Because if they think you're going to explode if you disagree, they won't say anything to you. But if you can be talked to, if they can, reply to you properly, then they will tell you if it's right or wrong. They'll just say, no, I think you think you're overreacting there. They'll understand. You have to be willing to listen first. In my experience, the people that get into the most trouble are the ones that can't listen. They're the ones that can't. They don't have the ability to take criticism without exploding. Sometimes criticism from friends is a good thing because friends knows best. They stop us from being deluded about ourselves. Sometimes we have an opinion of ourselves, a higher opinion than we really deserve, and our friends will come along and they'll chop us down to size because we needed chopping down to size. Other times the friends will build us up. When we have no faith in ourselves, our friends will come along and say, you're a really good guy, you've been bending over back with people, you should give yourself some credit. And of course, just because you've been doing all that doesn't mean you weren't bad in other ways. Some friends say you need to look after yourself, you need to be, more focused on you for a bit, which is all true. These are all things you need to take on board when they're coming from people you trust. But you shouldn't take it on board from people you don't trust because, quite frankly, their motives are dodgy to start off with. But just understand that when you're actually in a situation where you're dealing with these people, deliberately pointing the finger and making shit up or accusing you of things that just aren't you, you don't really need to defend yourself because they will have a reputation of their own, and people who know them will know that what their reputation is. And they might not know you from Adam, but they'll know them. And your friends will know you and their friends will know them. That's all you need to do. It's the Johnny Depp thing, right? At first, people thought he was a scumbag. His mates probably knew better, right? And then the public got hold of the real information and it all kind of broke. Right? You don't really need to defend yourself because your own reputation will defend yourself when you're not around. Right? You don't even need to be in the same room for your reputation because you're doing this work. Now, what I'll say to people if you're on social media being targeted in this way is don't worry. These kind of things tend to be short-lived. It's a couple of weeks, bang, it's gone, blown over. Right? If you don't keep doing something that they accuse you of doing, then it disappears in short order, and the people that made the accusation are then wide open to a few finger pointing themselves. You could go, yeah, well, they accused me of that last week. That turned out to be wrong, didn't it? They accused so-and-so of it the week before, and that was wrong as well. Maybe we should look at them. Maybe we should be asking, why are they accusing everybody of these things? People get a reputation. People remember what people say, they get a reputation. So words are quite powerful things. But it's also important, right, when you're confronted with something and somebody's being entirely reasonable with you or helpful, then maybe entirely reasonable and helpful is all they are. Maybe, sometimes, you need to take things on face value and not read too much into it. On the other hand, stress, difficult situations, they can change people. They can create life-changing experiences. Either with those you trust, like happened to me, the people you used to trust let you down in the worst possible way, in the worst possible time, then the trust you have in them collapses and it doesn't return in those circumstances. And the other situation is you start seeing things again in a very coloured way. It's like mental illness again. You are basically suffering a short-term mental illness when you're put under that much strain, and that does colour how you see things. And again, the answer is to just leave it and wait. Let things calm down. If you still feel the same way when you can, then you probably need to do it. But at the end of the day, though, being true to yourself is the key point. You need to be true to yourself. People know who you are. They expect you to be that way. And if you continue to be the way they expect, anything that sounds out of character is going to be seen as a lie, and you won't have to lift a finger to do a damn thing about it. On the other hand, right, if you're living a delusion where you think you're a saint when actually everybody thinks you've been causing trouble the whole time, then you need to get your act together. You need to look yourself in the mirror and see your real self for the first time. You're never going to change until you see who you really are and decide if you like that person or not. Anyway, reputations. You don't need to defend your own reputation. Your own reputation is reinforced daily by your own actions. Just be yourself and let everybody else see who you really are and make up their own mind. You've just got to know who you are and accept who you are. I mean, if you're not happy with yourself, change. It's simple as that. So yeah.